to Guatemala. I have arrived here after traveling over the border from Belize, and everything went really smooth, actually. I had debated a couple of different ways about doing the trip over. You could either go yourself with a taxi to the border, walk across, and then catch one of the multiple chicken buses on the Guatemala side to keep on going to your destination. However, I decided to end up ultimately booking a shuttle service with one of the organizations there in San Ignacio in Belize, which worked out great. It was $20 US, but that was pretty much door to door. The place was across the street from the hotel I was staying at there, and they take you to the border. When you get to the border, you have to disembark, take all of your bags and stuff, go through exit migration for Belize. It's a 40 Belizean dollar exit fee, or $20 US. So you pay that, and then you walk just outside and down the street a little bit to get to the Guatemala immigration, where they stamp you in, and that process was super simple. It literally took 2-3 minutes. So when I arrive here in Guatemala, it starts a new 90-day visa cycle for me. The 4 nations of Guatemala, El Salvador, Nicaragua, and Honduras have a joint 90-day visa for Canadians and for a lot of other countries as well. So basically that means that you're able to visit those 4 countries combined for 90 days. If you need more time than that, typically what happens is that you do a border run. Either you go to Mexico or Belize, or you go for a flight somewhere else just to kind of reset those 90 days to continue it. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to need beyond 90 days for those 4 countries, but I feel like it's a definite possibility. So my first destination here in Guatemala is the town of Flores, and more specifically the town of San Miguel on the north shore across from the island of Flores. So this is a very popular spot for a lot of people when they first come to Guatemala. They go to Flores Island, which you can see is right here. And of course, the reason for that is the world famous Tikal ruins. Tikal is one of the most famous ruins of the Mayan Empire and well known all over the world. It's about an hour to an hour and a half drive from here in Flores, but it is the sort of starting point for most of those adventures. So I'm in San Miguel / Flores for a week. I decided to come here and take my time and just kind of check the place out, get some work done, and not to mention I found an extremely great deal here in San Miguel, which I will show you later to give you an idea of the difference between what I had in Belize and what I have here. While here in the Flores area, this state or province is Petén, as it's known. It is the largest in all of Guatemala. It actually takes up about 1/3 of the whole country. So it includes everything from the Belize border over through the Tikal area. And then here, of course, in Flores, and this lake. This lake is a freshwater lake. It's one of the largest freshwater lakes in Central America, possibly the largest in Guatemala other than Lake Atitlan, but I will confirm that, and if that's incorrect, I'll put it on the screen. But it's a really cool spot here. I actually picked this side of the lake not only for the value, but also for the views. So the island of Flores is very densely packed. It's basically just a big mound in the middle of the lake, and as you can see from here, that it, you can see there that it's lots of hotels and things right on the edge. One of the things I have found quite surprising just in my short time here is how high the water level has become. So I've talked to a few people already, just sort of in general conversations, talking about the issues they're having here with the lake and the amount of flooding that's occurring as a result of the high waters. The general consensus, and everyone seems to agree, that this is due to climate change. As a result of it getting hotter here, it also means it's raining more here from the humidity. And this lake has risen about between 1 and 2 meters in the last 15 to 20 years. So you can see right here, even where I'm standing, this is the old retaining wall that would have been where the lake stopped. This would have been where the ramp kind of went into the water, and now you can see that the ramp is completely submerged. I've actually got some other stops along the way that'll show you how much worse it actually is in some spots. There are some buildings that are completely within the water that are no longer accessible. One of the shops I went to yesterday for some groceries, the back half of his store is actually in water. And I mean, there's obviously lots of discussion about what can be done other than moving everybody to higher ground, which of course is expensive. And Guatemala is not a super rich country by any means. So dealing with infrastructure issues like that, I would think, would be quite difficult here. So here's another shot of the water level issues that they're having here, obviously. There's the Yo Amo Tayasal. And Tayasal is the original Mayan name for the island of Flores and this area. Tayasal was a Mayan city here in Guatemala that was the last city to be conquered by the Spanish. So as a result of its island location and general difficulty with conquering, of course, because of that, Tayasal ended up surviving until 1697, which is well over 150 years after the Spanish first came to the Mayan Empire. As we've seen in some other places, 1520 or so was about the time when the Spanish first arrived in the Mayan Empire and began its conquest. Some would call it integration, I suppose. But yeah, Tayasal was the final stop. As is usually the case, the historical town of Tayasal, there's nothing left of it. When the Spanish finally conquered it in 1697, they tore the entire city down brick by brick and then used it to build the cathedral that they built in its place. So if you look across the water here and you see the white church with the 2 domes on top, that is the cathedral that is built out of the remains of Tayasal. It's another example here. Beautiful statue of a Mayan warrior carving into the stone with the horse, and it's completely submerged in about 2 feet of water, again behind the wall. So you can see that retaining wall runs the entire length of this town, but the water is now in probably 20-30 feet beyond that. I thought it's a little more interesting, at least to me, to look at some of these types of issues here, instead of just doing a walking tour around Flores and saying, oh, here's another restaurant and here's another hotel and all those sorts of things. To me, this is kind of a more interesting look at Guatemala from a local perspective. We're just going to continue to walk along the edge here a little bit. But you can see even here, you know, we are a good 40 to 50 feet away from that old retaining wall, and the water is even right up to where we're standing here. Here's the road, so it continues to be a pretty serious problem. So here's one of the most egregious examples of the water issues they're having. This is the main road around the edge of the town here that would have followed the lake. And you can see that it's been completely submerged. And there's now this wooden walkway you have to use to even get around part of this town. Obviously the boats that are here are a big part of getting around from place to place. But yeah, it's incredible to see basically here in real time the kind of damage that's occurring here because of rising waters, climate change, all those types of things. Just stopped here at supermarket Monjes to get some groceries, and I'll actually do a grocery haul when I get back to the room, just to show you what this was. 82 quetzales, and I'll show you what that gets you. What I can tell you is 2 full bags, and that's a lot better than back home. All right, so I just back at the place I'm staying at, and thought I would show you what I picked up for 82 quetzales, which is about $15 Canadian. I'll put the exchange rates there on the screen. And this is just a local mini supermarket down the road, but it was just some stuff I wanted to pick up for the week. So I've got a new sponge just for scrubbing my dishes, a little thing of ketchup. I got 2 of the local Gallo beer, a pack of sliced ham, some black beans, refried beans, 2 of these little packs of instant coffee, which are the local Condor brand. I've got some fresh cheese, some soft cheese to go in my breakfast omelets, a little bit of cooking oil, and then a big bottle of water, 1 liter, and a couple of drinks to try that are local, and a bottle of Coke Zero. So not too bad for $15 Canadian, I would say. Just thinking about being back home, and like this would cost easily double that, if not more. But yeah, this is just good because I am here for a week, and I'm going to do a full tour. But as you can see, there's a full kitchen set up here and a little bar fridge in the room to keep things cold. So yeah, so I figured, well, pick some things up, cook at home in the mornings, at least for breakfasts. And that way I can just kind of, you know, save a little bit of money rather than going over to the island or to another restaurant and, you know, spending $10, $15 on breakfast every day. I'll also show a picture here of the vegetables that I got yesterday. So this was a fruit and vegetable stand that's literally 50 feet from where I'm staying. And I got all of that for 18 quetzales, which is about $3 Canadian. Yeah, and that was great. And I got some eggs. I paid 15 quetzales for 10 eggs, which is about just under $3. But they're fresh, like they were right from the guy who has the chickens himself. And yeah, so everything is nice and fresh and local. I had some of the eggs with some vegetables this morning, and they were fantastic. Everything just had so much extra flavor to it. And again, just wanted to give you a quick shot of some of the stuff that I got. So I thought I'd just go up and I saw a taco stand up here by the grocery store earlier, and it was 3 tacos, I think, for 10 quetzales, so that's like $2 Canadian. I thought I'd go check that out, and then after that we'll take a little boat ride over to the island of Flores. So I ordered 3 chicken tacos, which was 10 quetzales, which is about $2 Canadian. So let's dig in. So they were delicious. They were only small. They were only like probably, 4-inch tortillas maybe, but they were very flavorful and some good sauce and stuff on top. So for $2, that's a good little snack. So let's head over and grab one of the water taxis and head over to Flores. Is how you get back and forth from one side of the lake to the other. Each time I get off the boats, I get a little less wobbly too, so there's hope for me yet. So over here on Flores Island, it's really interesting because it's got some circle roads that go around it, around the perimeter, but then all the way through the middle is primarily all these old cobblestone streets. And it gets quite hilly to get to the top. I went through there the other day as I had to grab an ATM. And it was a bit of a workout. An unexpected one, I suppose. So over here on Flores Island is where all the majority of people will stay. Lots of hotels, lots of restaurants, lots of tour groups to book adventures. And it's got a really cool kind of vibe to it, even though it's super busy. It's got all these old buildings. Everything feels very close together because it's such a small place to begin with. So it's a little bit loud where I'm standing because there's a generator running right next to me, but this I wanted to show because this gives you another example of the water here. So I should have mentioned earlier, but this is Lake Petén Itzá, and this is the freshwater lake that surrounds Flores, and then I'm staying on the south side over there. But you can see again, here's another example in Casablanca restaurant is a victim of this water's rise. I mean, that restaurant's been completely lost at this point, being fully underwater. And again, you can see the retaining wall that used to be here and the sidewalk. And then going this way is the same thing. At one point, this was a road that would loop around the island. But you can see the only thing looping around the island here now are the birds. But it's pretty dynamic that I'm here at a time when, it's not, it rained a little bit this morning, but it hasn't been super rainy. And yet everything's already flooded, so you can only imagine what it must get like here during the real rainy seasons in the summer. And, when the heavy storms come in the wind, it must make a real mess of the area and just continue to flood in. And there's a lot of houses and things here that are right on the water's edge. Some are actually partially in the water, and what they can do about it I'm not sure, but it's interesting to see it from that perspective and to see how much this is affecting locals who live here on a daily basis. So I thought I would just come into this little local shop here just for a quick second to have a look around, and look what I found. One backpack patch. So let's see how much that is, and we shall add it to the collection. So one of the things I wanted to briefly mention here was getting a SIM card here in Guatemala. So basically, I came in with eSIM from a company called Saley. They actually had a promotion for a free 1 gigabyte SIM card, eSIM, when you sign up with them. So I used that as my initial entry into Guatemala from Belize. That worked fine. It's great. But I wanted to get a local SIM card for the country because I'm going to be here for a month or more. And I thought that ultimately a local SIM card will probably be cheaper. And from what I've been able to tell so far, I think that's definitely the case. So what I have here is a Tigo SIM card that I picked up just over at the shopping center here across the causeway from the island of Flores. And the two companies here are Tigo and Claro. And there really doesn't seem to be a whole lot of difference between them. I did see some discussion online that the Tigo one has better coverage throughout the country. So ultimately that was what I went with. So I bought that SIM card, and with it came 7 gigabytes of data in 15 days, which does not include any data used through WhatsApp or some other social media apps. So that's great for me because I do a lot of video calling with my family back home, and none of that will count against the 7 gigabytes. You can then top up pretty much anywhere. Most of the stores around, convenience stores, those types of things, can all top you up. You just give them the phone number that's attached. When you get a SIM card here in the country, it gives you a local phone number, of course, which is always nice. What you can also do is download the Tigo app. It's not available through Google Play because it's restricted to people in Guatemala. So I had to go get it from a site called APK Pure, which is basically like a third-party company that has all the different apps available for there, and installed it from that. And that worked out really well. So once you have that installed, it verifies your number. It'll show you how much data you've used so far, that type of stuff. And it also allows you to refill your card on the go. So I'm just looking here at the screen, and a couple of the popular recommended ones here. There's one that's 15 days for 8 gigabytes. And that's including like unlimited calling within the country if you have some locals that you want to call. It also includes WhatsApp, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Those types of things are all on top of the gigabytes. That is 65 quetzales, so that's about $12 roughly Canadian. And then they also have a 30-day 17 gigabyte package, and all the other stuff is the same. And that is 125 quetzales. So you're looking at about $24 roughly Canadian for the month. And that'd be 17 gigs for the whole month over the 30 days. So anyway, lots of options like that. They had some different packages if you just need like data or roaming if you're leaving the country and you want to keep that SIM card, that type of stuff. That's all in there too. But I just kind of wanted to briefly discuss what I've done here. Very straightforward. Just went over to the shop that was there, asked them for a SIM card, and they set it up for me on the spot. And like I said, it was 75 quetzales and good to go. So anyway, hope that helps. And would recommend doing the same if you're going to be here for any length of time, because as I've mentioned in the past, eSIMs are great, but the cost of them does add up over time quite a bit. So I thought I'd give you a quick room review here of the place I stayed at. So I stayed over on the north shore of Lake Petén Itzá in San Miguel, which is just across the water from Flores Island, as you've seen. And I stayed here at Casa Zoila for a week, and really impressed with the place. And everything worked out really well. So this is actually a pretty big space for just me. It worked out to be great. It's actually split up a little bit, so we'll start here with the bedroom itself. Had a nice double-sized bed, good working stand there with power next to the bed. Fan, no air conditioning, so It was okay at the night time with the fan and stuff. It kept it cool. But if you're expecting air conditioning, it is not part of this place. It did come with a fridge, however, which was great. So I was able to pick up some groceries during the week. And the reason I was able to pick up groceries is because I also had a kitchen. So just outside, there's the bedroom. You can see through that window. Dining room table and a couple chairs. And kitchen had a propane stove, sink, coffee maker, lots of utensils and cooking appliances, which was awesome. So I was at least able to make breakfast and those types of things here in the mornings, and coffee, of course. And then up through here was the bathroom, and this was private, just for me with that rental. And yeah, pretty straightforward. Shower, toilet, nice shower, like it's been well put together. Lots of shampoos and soaps were made available. The only sort of downside, I would say, is that there was no hot water in the shower. So if you don't mind a cold shower, or at least a cool shower, then it should be no problem. I didn't find it that bad, to be honest, because it's so hot here that it was kind of a welcome relief. The daytimes here have been, 30 plus degrees every day here, even in February. So yeah, the cold shower, not a big deal. On top of all this, there's also access to a rooftop patio. There's a couple of other smaller units up on that area. I won't go up there this morning because there might be people up there or whatever. They have their own separate kitchen and bathroom upstairs, but the patio area was public access. Really beautiful view overlooking the island of Flores there and the lake and everything. Great spot just to kind of watch. I'd see thunderstorms and stuff moving across the lake on the other side, which was kind of cool to watch from up there. Wi-Fi was great, excellent, nice and fast. Corey, the host, she was fantastic. She was able to answer all my questions, help me out with getting a transportation ticket up to Tikal. Yeah, she's, and she's got a really cute dog named Loki, which is awesome. He's very excited to see everybody. So I'll put the information here on the screen. So I initially booked this through booking.com. However, I'll also put Corey's WhatsApp contact information here if you'd like to look at staying here in the future. I suspect you'll get a better rate directly through WhatsApp as opposed to booking, because then obviously you're not paying the booking.com fees on top of what the host would receive. Anyway, overall, this was a fantastic place to stay during my time here in San Miguel / Flores. The water taxis back and forth are literally outside the door. So you walk outside the door and the boats are right there to take you over to Flores or wherever you need to go. There's lots of restaurants around. There's a couple of supermarkets nearby. There's a restaurant literally 20 feet outside the door if you want to go there. So you don't have to stay in Flores. If you want to come up and check out this part of Guatemala, I would say that coming over here to San Miguel is a great option because it's quieter here at night. It's just kind of laid back and you can kind of watch all the lights on the island and everything from here. So that's going to do it for here in San Miguel / Flores in Guatemala, my first stop in this new country. Really excited to have been here. Beautiful spot, the whole area here with Flores Island and Tikal and the Tayasal ruins at the top of the hill, and just the whole experience of this area has been really fantastic. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like or comment down below. I try to respond to all the comments that I receive in my videos, and I appreciate every one of them. If you're not a subscriber, please click that subscribe button and join me on this journey as I continue through my trip across the Americas. If you'd like to support me further, there's a couple different ways you can do that. One is a one-time PayPal donation. There's a link for that below. And I've also just launched some new memberships for the channel with 3 different tiers, starting at just $3 Canadian. So you can have a look at those if you're interested. And remember, life is short. Wander. I'll see you in the next video.